Hi, I'm Joe Platti and thank you for choosing my online training courses. In this video we're going to cover advanced eye and lip application techniques. Now these are going to be the type of looks you see, like say the smoky eyes, the looks like you'd see on the runways or in the magazines. They're very glamorous, and it's basically going to go over much more advanced blending techniques. We're going to start working with colors, as many as like 6 to 10 different colors. And it's not necessarily that you're going to use this many colors, it's going to teach you how to blend this many colors. Because the main thing about working with eyeshadows, and the key to any successful makeup application, is blending. So we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at www.themakeupinstructor.com, and I hope to provide you with much more education in the future. I look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the video. So we begin with our model Nikki. Knowing that this is going to be an advanced look that we're going through, and we're going to be putting in a significant amount of color on her eye. Now normally I wouldn't use quite this many colors. I mean, you can, but for the most part, because we're going to be using so many shades, and mainly I want to show you how to blend out a lot of color. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to put a nice base underneath her eyes. Now, like we went over in the basic eye and lip techniques videos, you have two options. You basically can go under the eye with either some pressed powder, just lay it down heavy, don't blend it in, just basically blot it under the eye. Or in most cases, like I prefer to do, especially for photo styling, I like to use a matte white eyeshadow or an off-white eyeshadow, and I'll actually put that on with a blush brush, and I'll just blot that under the eye. And basically what'll happen is any of the product that falls under the eye, you can just easily swat it away without having to worry about blending it into the eye. Now in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to try to determine some colors. Now when you're working with color, especially multiple colors, you want to find a primary color that's going to work with everything. Now in general, gold will pretty much, or yellow, will pretty much go with any tone. So now, knowing that, I want to use gold as my primary color. Now we're going to get to gold later, but we're going to start knowing that's going to be my primary color that's going to blend with most. So now I'm going to begin with jet black. Now I'm going to start on the outer corner of the eye here, and I'm going to use probably close to, depends how I feel here, but I may put up as many as 12 to 15 colors on this eye. And basically what I want to do is I just want to show you, I'm not going to blend anything in, I'm just laying the color down right now. And the point of this is in general, once in a while you're going to get a harsh shaping to the eye when you know, with your brushes are going to leave a harsh shape. I want to show you guys how to blend this out. So I'm just going to lay everything down really hard here. Excuse me. And going through, now I'm going to add just a vibrant blue. I'm basically going to pick the colors that most people would probably fear to put on someone. So this is just a really bright, vibrant blue, and I'm going to work that up against that jet black. It's going to work under the eyes here. It's on the outer corner. Now in essence here, what I'm going to do is the entire color spectrum. So I'm just going to add a little more product on here. I want this really bright. I'll put a little more under there. Okay, now you can see the debris under the eye. Not overly concerned. I'm just going to take my my fan brush here, and I'm just going to swat that off. Okay. Okay, next I'm going to go up against the color. I'm going to use bright red. Now the point of that is, basically red will blend into blue, which it turns into what? Purple. So now I want to work that up against there, kind of work it into that blue as well, into that black, just working it into the crease. Run a little under the lower eye. Swat that off there. Okay, next I'm going to use purple, just a bright purple. I'm going to go up against that red. Now obviously purple will work into a red tone. Put a little under the eye here. Okay, next I'm going to apply orange. Now if you notice, I'm leaving the center of the eye open. I'm not putting that up against the blue because the blue and the orange won't blend. So I'm just going to put it in the center of the eye there. Run a little under the lower eye here. Okay, next I'm going to put that gold. That's my primary color. I'm going to put that right in the center so I can blend all these tones. Because obviously the blue, the gold will blend to the orange, and the gold will blend to the orange and the blue. So obviously blue and yellow is going to turn green. Swat that. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit more here. Just going to work that into that blue just a bit to blend it out. So we're going a little under here. Okay, so now that I've laid down the primary colors here, now we basically want to work on blending. So now I'm going to use a neutral white. And what you want to do is when you're blending, you blend from the brow down to the center of the eye. So no matter what angle you're coming from, blend downward to the center of the eye. So I'm just going to apply an off-white here. This is just a color called Glam, which is an off-white. And just from the brow, I'm going to blend it down, and blend it down, and blend it down. And you're just going to continue to do that until that crease comes down to the level you want, where it's, you know, well blended. I'm basically teaching you the wrong way to do it, if that makes any sense. I'm teaching you this is worst case scenario. If this is the way the colors came out, if it came out this dramatic, this is how you want to blend it out. So I'm just going to keep applying color to that brow and right onto that real harsh edge on the crease. And you see I'm putting it right on here. And again, going to keep blending down, blending down, and blending down. Now again, most people wouldn't use this many colors, so you're really rarely going to have to blend quite this much, but like I said, it's easier to teach you the wrong way to do things and how to fix these mistakes. Because this way, if you're just working with 3 colors, fit correcting it's going to become so simple because you've tried working with so many colors in an advanced look. So I'm just going to swat this off under here. Okay, so it's kind of got a bit of a washed out look. So now I want to re-enhance these colors. Alright, so now I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to add a really vibrant shimmery blue. And I'm just going to add this on the outer corner of the eye here. Just putting that into the crease a bit, a little under the lower eye here. Okay, next I'm going to add purple. Basically, literally going through and I'm mimicking the colors I had put down before, except now I'm doing it with a shimmer. So I'm just going to work that in. Basically just working into the crease a bit. Now I'm just going to overlap that black just a bit. That's going to bring down that harsh edge again. Now I'm going to go in with a red, a shimmery red. It's going to kind of blend that into the purple. I'm working it in the crease a bit. Okay, let's put a little under the eye here. Okay. Next I'm going to apply green. I'm going to work that into the blue. This again is a green shimmer. It's going to run a little under the lower eye as well. Okay, here I'm going to apply gold to the center of the eye, and I'm just going to bump that up against the that green we just put down. And I'm going to put it on the inside corner as well, just to highlight the eye, as well as the lower lash line here, just a hair. And now I'm going to apply a peach up against that gold. I'm going to work that through. And here I'm just going to put a little more of that peach on the inside corner there. Okay, now I'm going to add a color. It's an off gold. It's like basically a really faint gold color. It's called moon gold. It's one of the most common colors I use. It's one of my favorite colors to work with. And I'm just going to apply that in the crease and tone down that crease a bit. And work it into the brow bone. Now again, for photo styling looks, what you see like in person, like this is just under natural lighting, which is tends to pull very yellow. I'm just going to put a little in the center of the eye there, highlight the center of the eye, a little under the lower eyes as well. But generally what you see in person as opposed to film when you're hit with 1,000 watts of light or more, it's really going to tone this down a lot. Now I'm just going to take my foundation brush. Obviously we applied the foundation prior to, and I'm just going to use what's on my brush, whatever's left over. I'm not adding product to the brush at all. I'm just using whatever is remaining on it, and I'm just going to wipe underneath the eyes. And that is a really simple way to clean up under the eye. You can see it's a really pretty shimmery look. Again, this isn't something you would wear like out or going out on the town. I mean, you could tone this down to make it actually wearable, but for the most part, I'm just trying to show you basically like this is how photo styling works. So you can see it's not quite as dramatic when you move away, but basically it's a photo styling look. So on film, it's going to look completely different than how it looks on video here. So now I'm going through with a warm liner, and I'm going to line the eye about 1/8 of an inch thick. I do tend to work with multiple colors on the eyes. If you've taken my basic eye and lip techniques video, I do have a tendency to always work with two different colors. I very rarely just use plain black or plain brown. So I'm just going to line those eyes. Lower lash line here, I'm going to go all the way across with this tone. I'm trying to keep this liner as close to that lash line as possible. Just working it back and forth there. You really want to get into those lashes. Okay, next I'm going to go on with the jet black liner, and I'm just giving a tug on the brow here, and I want to put this liner as close to that lash line as possible. Just working it from the inside corner across. Now we're going to do a smoky look. So basically I want to line the upper line here, and we're also going to line inside the lower lash line as well. I'm just going to fill the outer corner here. Work that black into those lashes. Okay. Now you have a couple of options right here. Okay, so I'm going to give a tug on the lower lid here, and I'm just going to line the inside of the eye here. It's going across. You want to work that liner into that lower lash line. Just really get rid of any of the bare flesh that you see. You just want to cover that with the liner. Just really blend it into the lashes. Get it through. Okay. So I'm going to get this inside corner here a little more. Just want to connect the lines. Now I'm going to go through with a small blending brush, and I'm just going to blend these two out. Just working that back and forth. I just want to get rid of those jagged edges. And just work this in the lower lash line. And just make sure you really get those into the lashes there. You want to really get that blended in. You don't want to see any bare skin in there. Okay. Alright, now mascara. I personally, I'm not very finicky with my mascaras. The main thing is the type of brushes you use. The more bristles on the brush, the better the length on the and the separation of the lashes you're going to get. So personally, I'll go out and I'll buy some of the cheapest stuff available because I use so much of it. But what you want to do is just go through with a small lash brush, and you just want to separate those lashes. It's going to brush it, and it also helps to get some of that loose product off of there, some of the eyeshadows and whatnot. So I'm just going to brush it down. And then with my mascara wand, I'm going to start at the top. Now I always really clean off my mascara wand pretty thoroughly, and basically all I'm trying to do is cover up any of that loose shadow that may be appearing on the top of the lashes. And then I'll be wanding it up as well. So again, if you use too much product, you'll start getting a very clumpy look, and we don't want that. So you really want to clear off your wand before you actually apply it. On the lower lashes, I'll actually just go through with the tip of the wand, and I'll make sure I blot that off, and I just wand back and forth, just basically trying to cover up that that product or any of that shimmer that's sitting on those lashes. Okay, and you can see we have a good separation on the lashes. Now basically at this point you could leave it alone, but we're going to go through and we're going to apply strip lashes. And what I did is I apply a bead of lash glue right to the lashes, the false lashes, and I let it set for a second. And I have a tendency not to use tweezers. I use my fingers because I find that if you're using tweezers, it kind of scares your model a little more than using your fingers. So I just want to make sure we get that pressed all the way down to that lash line. Okay, I'm just going to push this down. I want it all the way out those lashes. Okay. And you can see once the white is gone, you know it's set. So meantime, this is going to set up. So we're going to start moving on to lips while that dries. Now contouring lips to me, now in this look we're going to go pretty extreme with it. I do have a tendency to do that just to teach you. A lot of times if you go too subtle, you can't actually really see what I'm doing. So we're going to go extreme. I'm going to use an extremely dark brown. We're going to use a white liner. We're basically going to use multiple tones here. So I'm going to go through here. And you can see she already has very full lips, but in this case I'm going to show you, this is actually a dark brown liner called Coffee, and I'm just going to fill the outer corner of the mouth here. And this is basically, like I said, how it looks in person and how it looks on film are two different things, but I want to teach you how to contour, because this technique here is going to teach you how to get a very, like say someone has very small lips, you know, on film would look much better if they had nice full round lips. This is a way to create that effect. So now we're just going to go through there, and we're going to fill the outer corners of the mouth with this dark brown. I mean, this is about as close to black as it comes. Now I'm going to go through with the burgundy liner, and I'm going to bump up against that dark brown, and I'm going to work this across the lower lip. And just connect the dots here. I'm just going to go right up against that brown and basically continue from where the brown ended, work it over a bit. And I want to leave the center of that mouth wide open. Basically, that's going to create the illusion of a fuller lip. On the upper lip here, I'm just going to do the same thing. Just going to line that lip. And you want to make sure you don't make your liner too narrow, because what happens, it makes it really difficult to blend out. So you want to make sure the line is at least probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. And it's going to go up against that dark brown. Okay, next I'm going to put a white liner right in the center of the mouth. Now again, you can use multiple colors. I mean, you can use, if you want to go from red to white, basically what you're doing here is you're actually creating a different color gloss or a different color lipstick by using this technique. So the best thing to do is just play around with it, try some different colors, and see what kind of neat effects you can get. Now here I'm going to apply a light pink. I'm going to apply this right to the center of the mouth. I'm not going to touch that liner yet, because as soon as I touch it, it's immediately going to change the color. So I just want to blot that on there, make sure I have enough product, and then starting on the outer corners of the mouth, you want to blend from the outer corner inward. From the outer corner inward. Never go back and forth, just outer corner inward. And this is going to render those tones inward. And this gives the effect of a nice round lip. Now again, this is an extreme look, and this is just to teach you some of the effects you can get. But again, you'll see the finished product that it's not quite as extreme on film. It's actually much more natural on film. So I'm just blending from the outer corner in, just getting that dark brown blended into the burgundy. Okay, and sometimes if it's a little too heavy, add a little more product. Put more product to the center of the mouth and go back to those outer corners and blend in again. Now on the upper lip here, upper lips, generally there's always going to cast a shadow. Now with the flash photography, or if you're working on film, it's not going to cast a shadow, but in general, like from day-to-day looks you're going to see, if you went to this extreme with the colors you're putting down, it's just going to look ridiculous. So you basically, upper lips aren't nearly as important to blend out. You just want to blend from the bottom of the mouth, or the bottom of the lip, upward, and just blend those tones out. Okay, I'm just going to add a little more product in here. Straighten my line up. Okay, and you can see, like now with the finished look, it has a nice rounded look, but again, very extreme, nothing you would wear for day-to-day looks. This is something for photo, or photo styling. So now, even on video, this would be pretty extreme for video. You definitely want to tone this down. But you can see it has a really thick, like you could just see the effect is just a nice round full lip. Now luckily this, my model Nikki here obviously has beautiful lips, so. Okay, now we're going to move on to liquid liner. Now at this point now our lashes are dry, or our false lashes are dry. So now, like I said, once that glue dries, you can go in there and we want to line that and hide that lash glue, because the lash glue is going to look shiny, which immediately is going to show people that it's false lashes. So I'm going to go through with a jet black liquid liner, and I'm just going to go from the outer corner here and work that inward. And the inside corner across. And I just want to go over top of that glue, kind of like onto that lash strip just a bit, just to conceal that glue. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with a small blending brush, and I'm just going to blend out this jet black. You have to be very careful though, because you want to make sure you're not putting too much pressure, otherwise you're going to pull those lashes off. We don't want to do that. So we're just gently going to wand this out a bit, just to get rid of those jagged edges. Okay. Now on the lower lash line, we're just going to fill that outer corner. Sorry, my hand is in the way here, but it's difficult for me at this angle to see what I'm doing, so bear with me. Okay, I'm just going to fill that outer corner of the eye, right to about halfway across the eye. I'm going to stop. And again, I'm going to go in with a small blending brush, and I'm just going to blend out those jagged edges. Now at any point, if the look seems too dramatic for you, you can always go in with a little eyeshadow and just blot that to tone it down a bit. Just blot it with a little bit of product. So I'm just going to go in here with a little product. I'm just going to blot this out, and you can see how much that tones it down. It's not nearly as dramatic. Just going to blot this upper liner as well. Just going to gently put a little product on top of that liquid liner. And then you have your finished look. Now, under normal warm lighting, this is basically how it's going to look. It's a little too dramatic, a little too much. Now, this particular look I'm going to use for still photography, which I'm going to have clean white lights. And, but this is your typical day-to-day lighting. This is going to be a very warm yellow. It's going to cast a lot of yellows. So, what I want to do here is I'm going to show you some stills. The finished shot here. But again, you could see under normal lighting, it's just extremely dramatic. So with these types of looks, it's really important that you know what your light source is going to be. So it brings us to our next point, which is some of our lighting types. Your incandescent bulbs are going to have a tendency to pull a lot of yellow, and you basically are going to need to know, number one, how much lighting is going to be available. Is it going to be, a lot of par cans? Is it going to be flash photography? It's really important to know these things because it's going to help you judge on how dark and how dramatic to make the look. For instance, if you were going to possibly be shooting somewhere, which would almost be unheard of for a photo shoot to have fluorescent lighting, but in the event it were fluorescent lighting, it's going to cast a lot of shadow. It's going to look very, have like a blue undertone to it, but very shadowy. It's going to be very dark. So it'd be kind of important to go a little bit lighter on the overall look itself. Now, if you're going to be working with clean white lights like I'm shooting with, or I will be shooting with, it's basically going to really blow out the look a lot. Meaning, like maybe for instance that white eyeshadow we put under the eyes just to brighten those dark circles on film is going to really reflect that back to the camera, which means it's going to conceal a lot more. But in general, for most part, say flash photography for instance, it's going to bring down the look itself probably about 3 to 4 levels, meaning like if it looks really dramatic in person, it's going to be 4 times lighter on film. So it's important to kind of play around with different light sources. Even if you have a lot, nowadays everyone has a digital camera. Even if you're working with a model or a client, and you want to play around with some different colors, take a picture of it, try a couple shots with the flash on, a couple shots without, and you see the difference in how much less, or more dramatic in some cases, it's going to be just with those 2 options. So it actually makes it kind of fun to just play around with some different light sources. A lot of times you'll find, like say if you're in a room, you might think that room is actually very bright. When you take that picture, it's going to look, washed out. In actuality, it'll come out very dark. So it always depends on, your style of photographer that you may be working with. If they tend to have, like, say for instance, if you look at their portfolios, you can kind of go through and see, do they have a tendency to overexpose their pictures? Generally everybody has their own style. You can kind of get a feel for the lighting they like to use. So if it always has a tendency to have like a warm, kind of darker kind of feel to it, you're obviously going to want to go significantly less dramatic. If it has a tendency to be very washed out, with a lot of backlighting, a lot of facial lighting, you definitely can go extremely dark with the look because it'll really be brought down a lot. So things to think about and things to play around with, as you start learning more advanced looks. The main thing is to practice. Try a lot of different color combinations. Don't be afraid to try it, and just keep a lot of makeup wipes handy because that's the best way to learn, is just to practice and try every. I personally don't fear any color at this point. If someone wants it, I'll try it. And like I said, with the blending techniques we went through today, you'll really find that it really does simplify your life if you just keep working with a lot of different colors, putting them on one eye, and as you start blending it out, if you're putting 10 to 12 colors down, and you can blend that out, 5 colors is absolutely no problem whatsoever. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at themakeupinstructor.com, and I'd be happy to give you any additional help you may need. And again, thank you for choosing themakeupinstructor.com for your makeup instructional needs, and I look forward to hearing any questions or comments you have. And thanks for choosing us.